Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another weekly Kings conversation with myself, Lena Washington, sports producer Sean Cunningham, your ABC 10 sports team, and we're here to answer any Kings questions you have about the team, their playoff push, their game tonight against the best team in the NBA, the Milwaukee Bucks, and of course the Clippers are rounding out the week on Friday night. But we are coming off a loss in Minnesota. Not a pretty game.
Well, not us.
Well, the Sacramento,
yeah.
the fans.
Yeah.
We didn't play.
No, we didn't play. Neither did Buddy down the stretch.
No, he
did
not.
I know that irked some people.
It did. Mm-hmm. It did. But we have a couple questions that we thought of that you guys probably want to weigh in on. And I think given the conversation going off of that game in Minnesota was, should Marvin Bagley be inserted into the starting lineup moving forward? This was his second career start. He had another baller game, 25 and 11, leading the points in Kings and rebounds. In Toronto, his first career start, he had 22 and 11 as well.
Right.
So it seems like he thrives in that starting five.
I mean, he's been thriving all year. He thrived even going into that Warriors game before the All-Star, or before December ended, and then he got hurt. Had his best game of his career then. Then he comes back. He's been on a tear since returning from injury, and ironically, those games, the Nuggets, the Warriors, those upper echelon teams is where he's really shined. Mm-hmm. And we saw that once again in Golden State, or to start this road trip, this four-game road trip before today's game against the Bucks. And he was sensational. Inserted in the starting lineup, but I have kind of a little off take because I understand why people want to see more and more of him, and I'm with them. You know, he's closing out games, he's playing since bulk minutes, and he's been someone that Dave Joerger can rely on. But as been noted, and we've talked to the coach, he wants to be able to stretch the floor. That's why you've seen Nemanja Bjelica in that rotation in starting minutes. You've seen Harrison Barnes, who they've traded for, and is most recently Bogdan Bogdanovic as well. Mm-hmm. Guys that can stretch the floor, and typically when they've had Willie and Marvin Bagley on the floor together, it kind of clogs the middle. So Bagley's not somebody that has this threat from the perimeter.
He's working on it, though.
He is. And I think, personally, because they sub Willie so quickly, within the first 3 or 4 minutes, I'm okay with Marvin coming off the bench. Mm-hmm. And depending on what decision they make with Willie in the offseason, will dictate whether or not Marvin is in the starting rotation. However they choose to do it, I get the method. I'm fine with him coming off the bench, especially if he's closing games and playing bulk minutes.
Right. Yeah. Another guy that we saw inserted into the starting lineup last week was Bogdan Bogdanovic. He's been a bench player for most of his time here in Sacramento, but he's been a contributor consistently. Mm-hmm. What did you see out of his performance, and should that be, well, Dave Joerger said that's the lineup he plans on moving forward with.
Well, and Kings fans know Bogey struggled all year. I mean, he's struggled with consistency, trying to find his shot, the way the rotations have been. And I had to ask him before the All-Star break. I just sat down with him and I said, what's up? And he thinks he's doing fine. He really does. Like, he knows the productivity's down. He knows that, he could be a little bit more selfish within the offense if he'd like to be. I think they want him to be. I just think he's still trying to pick and choose when to do that.
Sure.
But as he says, I need the ball in my hands. There's only one ball. And so when he has the ball in his hands, he's a lot more effective on the offensive end. When he doesn't and he has to find the ball, waiting for the ball to come back to them, and they move the ball fine.
Right.
It's just, again, finding those spots. Does he move well without the ball? Does he find his location? Does he find his spots without the ball? Well, I mean, we'll see. I mean, he's certainly struggled in moments, but when he has started, he's been really effective. Mm-hmm. And if they can just get his shot to return, I think that'll cure a lot of ills with them.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned moving the ball, and we've seen it. There have been so many moments where they're moving the ball so well that, like you said, point blank, it looks like nobody wants to take this shot. Even though it's a good look, the kind of mantra is pass up a good shot for a great shot.
Right.
But sometimes you just need that good shot.
No, so unselfish. These guys are so unselfish. And I think one of the reasons you've also seen Bogey really try to find his way is because of the fact that Yogi Ferrell's played so well off the bench in that second unit. When Yogi has had the ball, he's pushing pace. Not that Bogdanovic doesn't, but it's at a quicker pace than what Bogdanovic is used to doing. Sure. So Joerger's philosophy is pedal to the metal, just go, 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 go. And so I think part of that, Bogey might be a little bit more used to a half-court, quarter-court set, and Yogi's just flying. So I think that's what we didn't see earlier in the year when Yogi Ferrell had struggled within the offense trying to find his way. Now he understands I'm just going to push tempo the entire time.
Definitely, and that's something that they started off so hot with when they had fresh legs off the offseason coming into the regular season. Now they're trying to get back into that pace of play that everybody started taking notice of early in the season. But they've got the best team with the best record in the NBA, Giannis
Antetokounmpo.
There you go.
Yes.
He will be here. Some people know him as Greek Freak. It's a little easier to say.
Easier.
Eric Bledsoe, my guy. He's going to be running around with.
I want to see you give him a big hug before the game.
I would love to do that. I would say,
And good for him.
I'm happy for you. You're thriving.
He's been in some really tough situations.
He is a journeyman.
Yeah.
At this point.
35-point drubbing last time earlier this season in Milwaukee at the. That was just a crazy game. I think Giannis. I think he had probably 20 dunks in that game.
Yeah.
It was Costa remembers one of them. That was disrespectful.
we remember Costa Koufos, once Sacramento Kings player.
May he rest in peace after that dunk. Good
Giannis.
Lord, he just had a birthday. We can't do that to him.
Yeah, happy birthday, Costa. And we will get to see that matchup again tonight, 7 o'clock, maybe.
If I'm Costa, I'm like, no, I'm good.
Business decision.
Yeah.
But yeah, what do you see out of that? The Kings have played the best teams in the Western Conference pretty much wire to wire.
Yeah.
They're coming in with the best record in the East and in the league. How do you see this matchup or this game even playing out?
I'm curious what people out who are watching this have to do. Because truthfully, I think their toughest road is behind them now. And with the remaining, I think we're at 22 games now. They're about to start 4 here at home, and it begins with the Bucks, and then Saturday with the Clippers, which I think is a playoff game. That's a playoff game.
Yeah.
For all intents and purposes, for these two teams caught in this playoff race in the Western Conference, that's a playoff game. That's as close as it'll get. But once they get beyond that, the schedule really kind of evens out in a way in terms of the opposition. Now, you'll have some tough stretches in March where you're going every other day. 1 week it's every other day at home. The next week it's every other day on the road. End of March it gets a little tougher again. But I think you've survived this stretch. And even though you went 1-3 on the 4 games after the All-Star break, I'd take that. I said 2-2 last week. I said 2-2 would be ideal. 1-3 isn't bad, especially considering the first 2 games of the one in Denver, the one in Golden State. You had the ball in your hands,
a tip-in, with a passed-up 3.
with a chance to win the game.
Yeah.
So 1-3 stings because it could have just as easily been 0-4.
Right, definitely.
But it could have also just been 3-1 because of those 2 games. So.
Absolutely, a lot to glean from this stretch of games against really tough teams. After the Clippers come here on Friday, then it's New York. Hopefully a winnable game for the Kings.
I think so.
Hopefully a losable game for the Knicks, who are trying to get Zion Williamson.
They also won 2 straight, I believe.
Which is not making Spike Lee happy.
No, it's not.
He can have an Oscar, but if the Knicks are winning, he is upset right now. He is not a happy man.
I also think, too, like everyone's scoreboard watching, like you mentioned. Look, the Spurs are right there in that mix, and they're kind of slipping.
Yeah.
They've got that rodeo road trip. And
they went from like 5 to 8.
Yeah, they've lost like 7 straight.
Right.
So the rodeo road trip, they need to get off the road and get back into San Antonio and try to work some magic. But if they're slipping, now all of a sudden you're looking at Utah. You're looking at, and I think Detroit has the Detroit. I forget who it is off the top of my head, but Detroit plays someone tonight. You really need them to be, and you hope they can do the Kings a favor. But Kings just have to focus on themselves. Dave Yeager doesn't want his players looking at the scoreboard, and his players are going.
Tell that to Buddy Hield.
Yeah, he's like, no, we're
looking
at it.
We're
looking at it.
Yeah, they're looking at it. They're paying attention.
But for fans, they should be looking at that. Every day, you should know exactly where your team stands as it relates to the 8th and final playoff seed in the West.
Right, and as it stands right now, the Kings are just outside. They're a game back of the Spurs, who are holding on to that 8th seed. But 12 games out of the number 1 seed. Then it's 2 games separating them and the Clippers for the 7th seed. 2.5 games separating them and the Jazz for the 6th seed. So, winnable games against some of these teams, these Western Conference teams, the Clippers, a must-win game. And then down the stretch, you got Portland, you got Utah, you got Houston, you got San Antonio, Houston again. So those games in April and late March are definitely going to come into play.
Yeah, for sure. And they all add up, and that's why some of these games that are lost at the buzzer, whether it's a 35-point drubbing in Milwaukee or a tip-in in Denver.
From an all-star.
It's always the same result. Sometimes they sting, and that's why sometimes each game gets so much more magnified, which is why the likes of David Yeager is getting hit with so much criticism and not playing Buddy Hield down the stretch of a game where, granted, he was terrible. I agree with Yeager. He was awful in that game, even though he did score 18 points. Turn the ball over. I understand it, but, how do you not sub out offense, defense when you're down 3 and you need a 3? It was interesting.
Well, let us know what you thought about that game in Minnesota, what you think about tonight's game, the stretch, the postseason in general. It's pretty quiet over here on the Facebook front.
Yep.
But let us know if you have any questions. We are here to answer any Kings concerns. But
I want to know about Ja Rule.
Okay.
We got to talk about this.
So we gotta address this, right? So something happened last week at the Minnesota Timberwolves game.
Oh, was it
between
Fire
the Bucks.
Festival?
It was like a mini Fire Festival. Fire with a Y. So Ja Rule, he released his first album in 1999. It was 90s night at the the Bucks and Timberwolves game. He performed. He kind of mocked the fact that he was even invited to come perform. He had technical difficulties. It became a viral video because he's like, "Are we ready?"
Crickets.
Guess not.
Crickets.
So then everybody was laughing.
Did he sing Always on Time? Maybe that was it.
He certainly wasn't, though.
No, he wasn't.
Not necessarily a mesmerizing performance from Ja Rule.
No.
Shout out to Ashanti.
See what you did.
So the Kings Twitter social media people had some fun with it. Shout out to the Kings social media because they are the best in the game, hands down. They know how to really capitalize on pop culture moments. And then Ja Rule decided to capitalize on that tweet. They got
know
it
how
back
to
and
troll.
forth.
They know how to quality troll.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Quality trolling from the Sacramento Kings Twitter account. They started going back and forth with Ja Rule. De'Aaron Fox weighed in.
Yeah.
He said, "Now we good over here." Curses started being thrown.
As they do.
Then, of course, if you know who Lil B is, the base god, he is like the gatekeeper of NBA curses.
Yeah.
So last season, he actually blessed the Kings. They're on his blessing list.
There's not many on that list.
Not many on that list. The Golden State Warriors are number 1 on that list, so I think that's a problem.
Makes
There's
sense.
already a problem there.
So the proof is in the pudding there. It's working.
Yeah, but he is from the Bay Area,
Yeah, he
so
is.
that's fair.
Yeah.
But the Kings are on that blessing list, so Ja Rule, I jumped in. Lil B retweeted me, and he affirms that the Sacramento Kings are blessed. They are blessed. They have his blessing. So far it's working.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll see if Ja Rule's little curse from 2001.
He should be worried about 50 buying more tickets at his concerts.
All 14 of his seats being filled. Anyway, we have a concert coming up tonight, though.
Big Boy.
Big Boy from Outkast. You saw him on the Super Bowl halftime performance with that Cadillac rolling in with the fur coat. He's going to be performing tonight at halftime of the Bucks game. He was actually one of the keynote speakers, one of the many today at the Kings and Bucks Team Up for Change Summit, which was the first time ever they've hosted this event. It addressed social injustice, with both teams, again, experiencing some kind of tragedy or an altercation involving police in their communities, and finding a way to open a dialogue to bridge that gap between policing, community, sports, and the youth.
Right.
A lot of young people out there trying to get engaged in the community here in Sacramento and Milwaukee. It was streamed on the Kings Facebook page, so if you want to go check it out, it was all day long, standing room only in one of the lounges in the underground area of the arena. Mayor Michael Tubbs was there, Darryl Steinberg, Sacramento Mayor, tons of community leaders, Barry Ackius, Chief Daniel Hahn from Sac PD. And it was a really filling conversation, and it seemed like a lot of people gained a lot from this opportunity to open this dialogue and allow sports to go beyond the lines, outside the lines, beyond basketball. So we have that story coming up on ABC 10 News at 5, 6. We'll have the story up on our website, and I'll put the interviews with both Vivek Ranadive, Sacramento Kings owner, and Chief Daniel Hahn on our YouTube page.
That's great. I think, too, it's like, for all the things that happen in the community, you bring all these voices together. They're all striving for the same thing, but it's how does that all work? How does it all work? You all want kind of the same thing, and voices need to be heard, and opinions need to be heard. And it's all for the better good, and education process of all of this, and from all these different backgrounds, whether it be someone who's a billionaire like Vivek Ranadive to someone that struggles to even have a place to sleep at night or have something in their stomach. So I think it's tremendous, and of course, with to have the Kings and the Bucks, obviously we know what's happened here in Sacramento last year and going into the summer. But then, of course, what happened with Milwaukee Bucks and their player who had to run in with the police in Milwaukee, and I think to have those two on the NBA platform and the NBA's backing and bringing all these people together. I wasn't able to attend, but I was able to kind of watch on Kings.com, and it was fabulous. It looked like the discussion was really helpful.
Yeah, in the intimate setting, I didn't know exactly what to expect. I thought it was going to be like a setup on the Golden One Center court, and we kind of expected that, and we were wondering how shoot-around was going to happen, but they moved it into a more intimate setting where people could really hear and feel like it was a community setting. I mean, people were rubbing elbows with people they probably never seen or been able to. I mean, Doug Christie is out here walking around. I mean, he's a Kings legend, and he's walking around amongst people within the community trying to all make things better here in Sacramento.
Using sports as an agent for change. I mean, that's just it just seems to always work. For whatever reason, that just works.
Right.
And I'm looking forward to Big Boy tonight.
Big Boy. What song do you think he's going to perform?
Well, he's got to do Outkast. He has to do everything Outkast. So anything off of.
What song?
You got to go in my. You're putting me on the spot, but I will say Elevators. That's like my favorite one. It might not be all that appropriate.
Not some Rosa Parks for Black History Month.
That could work, but you asked me. Elevators is probably my favorite one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear Morris Brown in my head, but you can't go wrong.
And I miss Andre 3000.
Wouldn't that be something that
he will be? By the way, he will be. They both headlined Bottle Rock in Napa, close to us. He will be returning once again to Bottle Rock in May.
I'm here for it.
Yeah.
I'm here for it. Yeah,
I will be.
Hopefully we can hear from Big Boy. Maybe we'll get some kind of interview with him before or after halftime. Couldn't make it for his keynote address, but yeah, a lot of stuff going on here in Sacramento. And again, this event is just kind of a summation of everything that the Kings have been doing for the last year or so since Stephon Clark's shooting, the Build Black Coalition, the Queens and Kings Rise, the STEM opportunities for youth in Sacramento. They're just doing so many things, and this was just kind of a co-signed event with the Bucks. And it's getting national attention. ESPN's taking note of it. It was mentioned on The Jump. So pretty cool stuff for fans here in Sacramento to be proud of. In addition to their team with the winning record for the first time in a long time.
Playing the NBA's best team tonight. Do you like their chances?
I don't. But
and Giannis, by the way, will play. Like, they're expecting him to play. He's probable. He's missed the previous
MVP candidate.
Oh, in my mind, he is. Some people, I thought you might go James Harden again.
I'm going Paul George.
No.
Paul George is my MVP.
I'm just shocked because it seems like the conversation is Harden and Giannis. He's very much deserving. I mean, he's been fantastic.
I'm going PG Giannis. Yeah. Love James, but I mean,
you're over him?
It's old hat almost. Yeah.
Frank Mason wanted to pull that beard off.
Well, they got another 2 meetings, right? With another one or two meetings with the beard. So we'll see what happens with that. Do you like their chances?
I think it'll be a more competitive game, especially off the heels of what happened in Minnesota the other night. But no, I think look, they've shown a knack for being able to play most of the high upper echelon teams, and keep it close and be within striking distance. And I think this one will be no exception. I think they realized that they had a 35-point drubbing in Milwaukee, and they want to show that was an aberration. So we'll see what happens. I wouldn't pick them to win the game, but I certainly don't think it'll be as lopsided as it was in Milwaukee.
Sure. How about Friday's game against the Clippers?
That one is a must-win.
A new personnel change with
some. Yeah, and it's interesting because Jaeger had been asked immediately after he started Marvin Bagley in that starting rotation against the Timberwolves. Asked if he'd do it again. He said, "Well, it's based on matchups." I think if you're tonight and the Clippers, I think both those teams are very similar in length. I wouldn't be surprised to see him start again. But Dave also kind of coaches with emotion and feel, and I think he will probably – I wouldn't be surprised to see him revert back to a similar lineup of not necessarily Bielitsa, but at least what he played in Golden State, where he had Bogdanovich into the game with Harrison Barnes.
But this is the first time we're playing the Clippers. The Kings are playing the Clippers without Tobias Harris, who was a big problem. Montrezl Harrell is still a big problem.
Yeah,
He's still on the Clippers, but do you think that changes the potential? I mean, they have to win this game.
No,
this is the final meeting of the season, right?
Final meeting of the season, but they also, look, the Clippers have played them so tight in every contest. Montrezl Harrell has been an absolute monster against them. Clippers aren't as strong, but they also have a motivation to make the playoffs now. Everyone's doubting them. Everyone thinks that the Clippers are going to be tanking. Their owner, their players are saying.
Steve Ballmer said, "Not with my $1 billion, you won't."
We're going for it. So they're not concerned about the draft pick. They've got a lot of money. They think this will be a good opportunity to develop their players, play meaningful games, and show that they have a future. And they're not, the stepchild of the Lakers in LA. So
who might not make the playoffs?
Oh, how about that? How about it's not all rosy in La La Land down there.
It is not all tap dancing and dancing in the stars.
As it should be. It's Hollywood. There should always be drama.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, definitely some Hollywood drama there in LA with the Lakers and the Clippers both fighting for a spot in the playoffs, and the Kings are trying to throw bows and keep them out, make some history.
I like it. I know I'm not going to go for a win tonight, but against Clippers, I'll take the Kings, and I think the Kings win big in that game.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, good to know. Sean with the prediction, with the bold prediction, the hot take. Jason Jasper, first time, hopefully long time, for 3 weeks strong. Not many people weighing in today. It might be a little bit of a wonky Wednesday, but
it's raining outside.
It is raining outside, and you know who's been making it rain? Buddy Hield. So we will see if he can continue to stay hot at home at least. He's been knocking him down from the perimeter. And we mentioned Marvin Bagley. He's been working with Buddy, staying a little longer in practice to get that three-point shot going.
His work ethic is incredible. He knows he has to improve as a shooter from the perimeter, and he's taking on the challenge of shooting with Buddy and Bogey, not yet putting money on the line that we know of. At least he tells us he hasn't. But competing in those shooting drills that they do after practice, and just to have him competing with the likes of them, that'll go a long way, and that'll show that. And look, it has gotten better. Marvin, it looks like a completely different player from when he started in October.
Definitely.
To where he is now, so confident, and the guy's got such a tremendous ceiling. I think the Kings have an all-star for years to come in the future with him. But this is the year. And once he secures the starting spot, I know people like to just really hone in on whether or not he should be starting or not. Just sit back and enjoy. If this guy's getting 30 off the bench, 30 and 15, go for it. You know, what difference does it make?
Yeah. Well, Marvin Bagley still performing very well at a high level. We'll see if he can keep it up against the Milwaukee Bucks coming in. Let's see what their record is. I think they're like
they only have 14 losses.
So
it's like 40-something and 14. So
yeah,
but it's the best record in the NBA. And Mike Budenholzer has done a hell of a job of Milwaukee turning that around. DJ Wilson
come a long
back
way
in town.
from Jason Kidd, right?
Yeah,
He's spilling the cup on purpose.
And DJ Wilson back in town, Sacramento's own, Capital Christian. It's always good. He only makes one
Saw
trip
him at
out
Summer
here.
League.
So, yeah, he's he's still trying to find his way. He's kind of rotational, sometimes not, but you know, he always wants the opportunity to play well at home, and I know it's special for him. So
yeah. Well, we will see if DJ Wilson takes the floor with the Milwaukee Bucks taking the court against the Kings tonight at Golden One Center, 7 o'clock. Big Boy is the halftime performance. We will have post-game reaction from the Kings locker room on our ABC 10 YouTube channel. And again, if you want to learn more about the Team Up for Change Summit, we have the information on our sports page at abc10.com, and I'll have my story up at 5 and 6 on ABC 10 News. We will see you next week, 3 o'clock,
ish.
Probably, ish. Mark your calendars down for more Kings conversation with Lena and Sean. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram. See you next week.
Bye.